Before building the database, we're going to have to give consideration to what screen real estate is required. You have to think about exactly where this is going to fit and how it's going to make graphical sense with your Flash host. This particular file was laid out in an HD resolution, and so the area inside the interface that could best accommodate the database is approximately 1000 by 450 pixels in dimension. You'll notice when we see the database, it actually is built inside its own separate Swift file. That's called into the host through a loader. And loader is actually the same kind of component that's used to fill this Swift file up with the blue placeholder, the blue diagram, and the blue animation. So we can use a kind of hierarchy or nesting of loaders to draw resources from a variety of locations that are ultimately hosted inside this one environment. If I go ahead and bring the compilation forward, you notice this is exactly where it sits inside here, and in fact the information that we see inside here isn't really in the file. It's contained inside a separate Swift, which is then loaded in and placed at this position. If you look very carefully, you notice that where things fit inside this particular file maybe don't make sense for its own composition, but ultimately make sense in terms of how it fits in the host file. This has to be considered. You'll notice that all of my text fields and the menus and so forth are almost right up to the edge. When placed inside the host file, they're in agreement with portions of the graphics that make up the interface. It's critical that you give this kind of consideration to your Swift file that has the database in it before you begin constructing it. You'll notice that the pull-down menu that works inside the host file has been taken into consideration when each of the text fields and the graphics have been positioned in the Swift file that contains the database. Likewise, the placement of the combo box that causes the various components in the interface to change and reference the XML data has also been positioned in such a way not to interfere with other portions of the interface.